because of the fact that John Tennyson is injured.
Yeah.
Now Tennyson came on for him the last day and Tennyson played brilliantly.
Yeah.
Now as well as playing centre back, Brian Hogan can play full back. You know, if anything should happen to Noel Hickey. So they don't want to take JJ now out of wing back and put him back again full back. So he's really, really vital, and that he stays on the field and he stays healthy and stays uninjured for this game is more important now than ever than any other time, because I think they can replace all their wingmen on the team. You know, there's Sean Cummins there, there's Paddy Hogan, they have of course Mick Kavanagh, with a centre back, unless they bring out Jackie Terrell, a centre back, they have no ready-made centre back without Hogan. So he's very, very important today.
It's a measure of the kind of panel that this man here, Brian Cody, has. That chap Fitzpatrick a couple of years ago, All-Ireland winning midfielder, All-Star. He comes in as a sub today, more or less, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I mean, that shows the strength and depth of the Kilkenny squad. And I mean, I believe this guy has been absolutely flying in training, has put in a serious effort to get back onto the team. And give credit to Michael Rice and Michael Finley. They're the guys that are actually keeping him out, and they've been playing top drawer. But isn't that fantastic? I mean, to have the strength and depth to be able to bring a guy like this, quality guy, into the middle of the field. No questions about his striking ability, his hurling ability, his reading of the game around the middle of the park. And he's a huge asset coming into the team. I mean, if you're missing Michael Rice and you're saying, we have to go down down the panel to see who are we going to fit in here, it would be more difficult for Kilkenny. But when this guy is in, it just doesn't seem to alter anything really. Yeah,
there's a lot of pressure then obviously on the Cork midfield today. And Cathal Naughton, you want to make a mention?
Yeah, well, like Tom Kenny is kind of, everyone knows, Naughton's new guy on the block. He's around for a while, but he has great pace. And if Cork are to win, he's going to have to play very, very well. He's going to have to take on the Kilkenny defence, go at them, pop a few from outside if they don't come to him. And if they come, let off little hand pass to Ben O'Connor's. But he's capable of doing that. And like you have the likes of Pat Horgan coming back on the team. I thought he was very unlucky to be dropped and to be taken off in the Munster Championship.
And I think that's crucial as well. I mean, we've heard an awful lot over the last couple of days. I mean, we've heard Nicky Brennan more in the last 2 days than I heard him as a president, right? And I think he's actually, this was orchestrated, right? It's actually to get Cork into the physical stakes. With the likes of Cathal Naughton and Ben O'Connor and these guys, they're not able to do that. So I think Cyril was right. Naughton has got to keep it open, keep it wide, and use his legs at every opportunity. Keep away from the Kilkenny guys as far as he can, and I mean, open up the gaps. I think that is crucial.
For Cork to have a go at Kilkenny, they have to go back to their own type of game.
Yes.
Whipping it and shifting it and moving and have a cut at them rather than standing back trying to bring out, say, 8 backs or try to close down. That won't work against Kilkenny.
This is a view that I heard expressed by former Cork players, Ger. You know, that this is what Cork have to go out and play with a bit of free abandon and all that.
Well,
is that being naive though against Kilkenny?
It's easy to say there's no pressure on Cork because people expect Kilkenny to win this game by 10 or 12 points. But there is pressure on Cork because the whole reputation of this team built up over 10 years depends on their performance today, you know. And they just cannot back down from Kilkenny today. That's absolutely vital that they don't back down. But I would agree that they have to go back to what the traditional game is. That moving the ball really fast, getting the man into space, having a bit of composure. Maybe one thing Naughton lacks is that little bit of composure to put the ball over the bar. Now, this man here, Pat Horgan, he started off the league against Kilkenny below in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. He was absolutely brilliant. He got probably the goal of the year that day down there. Now, since then, his form has suffered a small bit. Maybe it has suffered because of the fact that everything was directed towards Esaki O'Halpine.
Yeah.
Now, I expect today that he'll be brought in more to the game, but he's on Jackie Terrell. And if he gets anything off Jackie Terrell, then he's a really, really good player. Really, really good player.
See, the thing about it is, Tomas, 2 years ago when some of that Cork team were a little bit younger, a little bit fresher, there was a 9-point gap between them.
Absolutely, Michael, and that is the worry. And I'm like, Kilkenny, maybe if people are saying they've dropped the guard a little bit or are slipping, and I haven't seen that, being honest with you, you know. So I mean, it is a big ask realistically, and I mean, I'd be looking just today, right, that they can actually go and, as you say, play with abandonment and freedom and stuff like that, and take the game to Kilkenny. And probably to win it, we would need to get goals, and certainly me with Patrick Horgan, unlucky Paddy O'Sullivan mostly is not in the starting lineup as well, you know, that he'll be in at some stage, but we definitely need to get goals to win this match.
Final word, sir.
Yeah, Kilkenny to win the game, like it's theirs to win, and like if they're vulnerable, it could be this game because they hadn't any real game against Dublin or Galway. But like it's theirs really to win and it's theirs to lose. But I expect a cracker because like if Cork have blood in them and they have, they're going to give it today.
Okay, here we go then. Who will be the first team into this year's All-Ireland hurling final? Here's Ger Canning and Michael Dignan.
Thanks, Michael. The wind is just beginning to whip up a little bit here, blowing down the field towards Hill 16, in front of which will be barriers, we know, from the All-Ireland finals in September, 2.8 metres high. But that's to come. Right now it's the greatest of rivals. It's Kilkenny against Cork. Kilkenny bidding to reach their 11th final in 13 seasons, having missed out, of course, in 2001 and 2005 when they lost in those years to Galway. And there's Dennis Walsh there alongside Dr. Con Murphy, who reminds me that they're watching it everywhere and anywhere in Vancouver as well, the hurling club over there, with a big interest in this, and their host Donald Toomey And look at the crowd, look at the colour, look at the sense of expectation. Is it a case of the drive for 5, part 3 of that particular story, or as some would have it, close the door at 4? Michael Cusson there, and Paddy O'Sullivan as well. And Paddy O'Sullivan very unlucky, I think, Michael, not to be in that team.
Yeah, he played very well against Antrim here the last day. He played very well when he came on against Waterford, so he's unlucky. Maybe Pat Horgan obviously has returned to form. Good goal getter, and they're hoping that they're going to need goals today to win. They're going to need, I think, maybe 2-3 goals to win this game today. Interesting, that the one team that haven't scored many goals against Kilkenny over the last 10-11 years is Cork Kilkenny haven't scored many goals against Cork. They've only scored 3 against them in the 4 championship meetings over the last 11 years, and Kilkenny has scored something like 104 goals in that time. So the Cork backs, I think, will hold up very well today, but will they be able to get enough scores up front? But one thing, Jared, right, the passion in this game, I believe the training in Cork over the last couple of weeks, we saw it against Tipperary in May, the way they rose the game, they were written off, by a lot of people before that game. They're written off again now. I expect a huge performance from Cork today. I ultimately think they may come up a bit short, but it's not going to be. The bookies have it all wrong. There is 7 and 8 to 1, and all this is completely wrong.
Well, the substitutes are watching, the fans and the teams. Donal Cusack there, the Cork goalkeeper, who's playing today in his 54th championship match. Now surpasses Ger Cunningham's record of playing in 50 championship games. We saw Ger there in the build-up to the programme. The teams last met, by the way, in mid-March. It was down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and Cork won that afternoon by a point, but it was a game where Kilkenny, already without the Ballyhale players, had to compete in the second half with just 14 men. His team lost Michael Grace just before half-time, and Paddy O'Sullivan in that match came on, scored 2 late winning points. That narrow victory, I suppose, provided Cork with some encouragement. Remember, and it's in today's programme as well, it's mentioned the 28-point roasting in 2009. It was Dennis Walsh's first match in charge of Cork. What a baptism for him to take Cork down to the league, into Nolan Park, and to get absolutely hammered by Kilkenny. And the Kilkenny fans enjoyed it enormously that afternoon. Richie Power, I remember finding the net 3 times on that occasion. Well, now, before the action gets underway, there's going to be a minute's silence reflection here for a great Tipperary man who sadly passed away last weekend. That's Mick Frawley, who was an outstanding GAA official, a kindly man as I remember him, with a passion for football and a great love of hurling as well. He was one of nature's best, and he is now sadly missed. Mick Frawley.
West Tipperary Board and Chairman of Tipperary Football Board. He was also a sitting member of the Association's Bylaws Committee up until the time of his passing. Gudukadria, Suivnis Shiri, Da Anam, Husil,
Yes, indeed. Yeshdal Day, Garev Onamosa. Mick Frawley from Tipperary died last Sunday. And now, before the action gets underway, it's time for the anthem, our own Navian today, played by the band of the Garda Síochána. Just listen to the roar. Croke Park ready for action. The first of